I think I found the smoking gun here. There was a recent scientific study published in Antiviral Research, 10 February 2020, by 3 scientists from France and 1 from Montreal, who did a genetic analysis of the Wuhan coronavirus, and they said, quote, "It may provide a gain of function of the 219 coronavirus for efficient spreading in the human population compared to other viruses." Let me repeat that. May provide a gain of function to the 2019 coronavirus for efficient spreading in the human population compared to other lineage coronaviruses. That's the smoking gun for a offensive biological warfare agent. Gain of function properties is a tip-off. It's only useful for offensive biological warfare activity, and it is typically conducted in either it's so dangerous, in either a BSL-4 or a BSL-3 facility. And there in Wuhan, you have the only BSL-4 facility in China. So I think it's clear it came out of this lab. Gain of function, means it's DNA genetically engineered to be more lethal and more more infectious. Clearly, what we're seeing now with this coronavirus, it is basically SARS, which is already a weaponized version of a coronavirus that has leaked out of that laboratory at least twice before. And then it is given gain of function properties, which basically means it can travel by air for at least 6 feet and is more lethal. SARS lethality was about 10%. Lancet estimates here the lethality is about 15%. If you disaggregate Chinese government figures, it's about 17%. And there's a British public health authority who said he thinks it's about 18%. So I think that's a fair and accurate statement. Second, we have an article here from the NatMed, 2015, December 21. SARS-like cluster of circulating bacteronuses show potential for human emergence. This was at the University of North Carolina. In Chapel Hill. They have a biosafety lab level 3 there, and I have previously condemned them for using gain of function work on MERS, which is the Middle East respiratory syndrome. It is like SARS, only more dangerous. It has a 33% lethality rate. And they were doing gain of function work there to make it even more lethal. Well, it turns out if you read the article, they admit that they were doing this with SARS, that they were giving it a gain of function activity. And it turns out part of their team was a researcher from China, Zheng Li Shi, Key Laboratory of Special Pathogens and Biosafety, Wuhan Institute of Virology, Chinese Academy of Sciences. And they gave a grant to the University of North Carolina to get their scientists in on this extremely dangerous Nazi-type biological warfare work. So it appears that what happened was, instead of stealing this technology, China bought it. And they bought it from the lab there at the University of North Carolina. They put their person in there. They took the technology and they brought it back to the Wuhan lab. It's right there. This fellow works for the Wuhan lab. And it also appears that the North Carolina lab got cells from Fort Detrick, which is the U.S. major facility for the research, development, testing, stockpiling of biological weapons. Fort Detrick is the U.S. equivalent of Porton Down. So that's where they got some of their cells here. And they made it clear the work that they were doing was to increase the pathogenicity of original SARS by giving it this gain of function activity. The final piece of evidence here is Archive of Virology 2010. And this is research done with the Australian Animal Health Laboratory and again the Wuhan Institute of Virology, where they DNA genetically engineered SARS and HIV, okay, to make a weapon. And they got a grant here from the Chinese Ministry of Science, Technology, etc., to do this. So once again, they bought the technology. They didn't steal it back to Wuhan. And so my reading of these articles, basically, these 3 articles, is that they took the technology from this death factory at North Carolina. They took the technology from this Australian research project. They brought it back to the Wuhan BSL-4 and tried to genetically engineer it all together as a sort of a turbocharged biological warfare weapon that would consist of SARS, which is already a weaponized coronavirus, gain of function properties, and HIV. And as you know, those Indian scientists already did an analysis of the coronavirus, and it was published online. I read it, and HIV was clearly in there, AIDS, that gives AIDS. I saw the pictures. So that, I think, is what we are dealing with here. We've never seen, at least released in the public, a biological warfare agent this dangerous, except the Amerithrax that was in October 2001 after the 9/11-2001 terrorist attacks. That was super weapons grade anthrax, 100 grams of spore. It too traveled in the air. It seemed to be based on nanotechnology. And we hadn't seen any. And at the time, I publicly stated it came out of the U.S. Biological Warfare Weapons Program and probably Fort Detrick, which was later confirmed. I said that about the first week in November. I was even on the BBC saying that. And then an order was given to silence me. I was blackballed off all mainstream news media in the United States, Britain, Europe, you name it. So despite the fact my viewpoints are all over the world, no mainstream news media will touch me. So the Amerithrax, of course, was extremely dangerous, but not as infectious as what we're seeing here. So in a nutshell, that's where I see it as of today.